Hello everyone. As we have already discussed the agricultural sector of Indian economy and the role it plays, now we are moving towards the topic causes of low productivity in agricultural sector. Here we start. As we have already discussed, that India is primarily an agricultural country, and this particular sector provides livelihood to more than 50% of the population and contributes nearly one-fifth of the country's GDP. However, the crucial point here is that India lags behind many other countries as far as agricultural productivity is concerned. The reasons are several, which we are going to discuss in the following slides. But before that, it must be noted that the agricultural productivity can be measured in two ways. One is productivity per hectare, and another is productivity per labor. So if we compare the productivity of the India's agriculture with the rest of the world, India lags behind not only the developed Western countries but also the developing countries as well. So, though India agriculture is regarded as the backbone for our country, but still we are facing this low productivity problem in this particular sector. The causes for low productivity of Indian agriculture can be divided into three broad categories, namely the general factors, the institutional factors, and finally the technological factors. So, first of all, the general factors include overcrowding in agriculture. So, we all know that India is a populous country, and the increasing pressure of population on land is an important demographic factor which is responsible for the low yield in agriculture. In India, too many people depend on agriculture. We are also aware of the fact that in agricultural sector, the prevalence of disguised unemployment is only because of this overcrowding nature of the agricultural sector. So this increasing pressure on land has led to the fragmentation of land holdings. The next point is the socio-economic factors. So there are various socio-economic factors like illiteracy, ignorance, and conservative outlook of the farmers, which restrains them to accept anything new. As a consequence of which modernization of agriculture becomes difficult. They always find it difficult to use or adopt any modern techniques in the agricultural sector. Then the next one is the natural factors. We all know that in our country, still this our agricultural sector is dominated by the nature, and we always say that it is a gamble of monsoons. So apart from this, there are other natural calamities also like flood, hailstorms, which also affect the productivity of agriculture. Moving towards the institutional factors. So the first point is small size of land holding. So the small size of holdings in India is an obstacle in the way of progressive agriculture. The average size of holdings in India is less than 2 hectares. In case of every small farm, it is difficult to introduce new technology. Further, due to fragmentation of land holdings, a great deal of labor and energy is destroyed in cultivation, which further result to low productivity in agriculture. And the second important point is the defective land tenure structure. We are all aware of the prevalence of zamindari systems during the pre-independence period. So the agrarian structure in India is not conducive for a progressive agriculture and always stands in the way of agricultural development. Though zamindari system has been abolished, but the enactment of the tenancy legislations and the positions of the tenants are far from satisfactory. Then next point is inadequate marketing system. We all know that for the development of agricultural sector, a proper marketing system is very crucial. The defective and inadequate marketing system for agricultural products also add to the severity of the problem. Then further lack of storage and marketing facilities have made them deprived of due prices of their products. The next institutional factor is lack of adequate credit facilities. We all know that how important credit is in any field, whether it is agriculture, industry, or any other thing. So Indian agriculture remains backward due to its inadequate provision of credit facilities. Still, the farmers have to depend on money lenders who, charges exorbitant interest, and the landless and the small farmers are always left behind by the other sources of finance like the banks, the cooperative societies. So those who are in need of credit facilities to, you know, mm, develop themselves in the field of agriculture, they are not being provided proper credit facilities. So this is another institutional factor which adds to low productivity of agricultural sector. Moving towards the technological factors, we all know that how technology is important for the development of agricultural sector. So technology plays an important role in the agricultural development. But there are some factors which are responsible for the low productivity in agricultural sector. The first thing is that traditional methods of production. So the technique of production adopted by Indian farmers is old, outdated, and inefficient. So they mostly use the traditional method, and they are not adopting the modern methods, which restricts them, and their it hampers the productivity of agriculture as well. The next is the lack of use of high yielding varieties of seeds. So after the Green Revolution, um, the use of high yielding seeds was very popular, and it's very popular. But still, we can see that Indian farmers are still using seeds which are not of good quality. In the post-Green Revolution period, the use of high-yielding varieties of seeds increased substantially, resulting in a considerable increase in the productivity. But it is limited to the irrigated areas of the country, because high yielding seeds, the most important requirement for this particular seed is high irrigation. So it is always limited by this particular factor. Then the next is lack of fertilizers. So fertilizer consumption measures the quantity of plant nutrients used per unit of arable land. Indian farmers are not applying sufficient quantity of fertilizers on their lands, and constant cultivation of land causes deterioration of the fertility of soil, and the fertilizers used per hectare is very low compared to the world standards. So ultimately it affects the productivity of the agricultural sector. And further, the inadequate irrigational facilities. This is also one of the important factors of the low productivity in agricultural sector. So Indian agriculture highly depends on monsoon, as we have already discussed, because of the non-availability of irrigation facilities. So in spite of several measures, irrigation has not substantially increased in India. So most of the land is left under the mercy of monsoon, which is highly irregular and uncertain. So all this contributes to the low productivity of agriculture. Last but not the least, inadequate agriculture research. So we all know that research is very much important for development, for evolution, for increase in efficiency. So agricultural research in India is still very poor, and also whatever research is done, the benefits of the research and development is not made available to the farmers. So all these factors, uh, it adds to the the severity of the problem of low productivity. And we can witness that there is a gross absence of many basic facilities in Indian agriculture, which all have contributed to the low level of agricultural productivity in our country. So, how can we deal with them? So there are some remedial measures to increase in agricultural productivity in India. So for any particular problem, the solution will be to deal with the problem, trying to solve the problems. In that way, we can provide remedies. So in that way, the first thing is that we can do consolidation of land holdings to avoid the problem of fragmentation and small land holdings. We can also overcome the natural factors, by providing um, security through better irrigational facilities. Then we can promote the use of application of modern technique in agriculture by creating awareness among them, by providing uh, facilities, credit facilities, so that they can access this modern technique. Then we can also develop a proper marketing system, and we can also provide proper agricultural credit facilities so that they can develop themselves. Then finally, we can change the outlook of the farmers regarding modernization of agriculture by creating awareness, by letting them know the importance of technology in agricultural development and the role it plays in increasing the productivity of agriculture. So all these remedies can increase the agricultural productivity in India. So thank you.